Yo, what's up guys, Edge TCG back again in Genesys. This time I got top 8 unfortunately at the YCS, the first ever YCS for Genesys with like the real prizing and whatnot. Very cool, very cool Konami. Not a lot of players entered, so maybe you guys can give it a shot in the future. I played Radiant Typhoon. I maybe had some questionable plays in top cut. I don't know if they're incorrect, but they were the plays I made. This is the most fair deck I've ever entered a tournament with. I probably wouldn't do it again. I need something that's way more unfair to easily win. But the deck was like kind of okay. I mean, I had a lot of favorable matchups, which was the reason we picked the deck. But I don't know. Here it is: 3 Corsair, 3 Swen, shout out Dency and Jagdeep, 2 Eldum, 2 Megala, 1 Phonix, 1 Varun. It was a fine lineup, probably wouldn't really change anything. Next, we have 3 Shield Bearer and a Hop Squadron. This is kind of a neat card. It came up quite a few times where I like summoned and popped cards. Actually, probably only came up like once or twice. I'm not sure I'd play the Hop Squadron again, but the extra deck was kind of free, so you really could. This card was really good. It was basically a string more Eldums. It was a concern at one point where one of my opponents was playing Droll that I knew about, so I was kind of scared to activate this card, but you know, it's fine. Also, speaking of Droll, even though people complain about Droll, people say Droll is bad, Droll is like a necessary evil, and I think even at 20 points, it's too high, and that the card should be in the format so people don't play cards like this. Droll should probably be like 15 points or something. 20 points is still high, but it's still, you know, it bears a lot of decks from playing it, so it was fine. Next, I played card in hindsight, I don't know if it was the correct choice, was Sheena. There's a couple of games where I won because of Sheena. There's a couple of games where Sheena was good, and then there's also a couple of games where Sheena was a nuisance. Like I couldn't Megala effect because I didn't have a zone. I wouldn't have a zone for Sheena. I couldn't summon back one of my runes from grave because I wouldn't have a zone for Sheena. If I Sheena'd my board, then I'd be susceptible to getting OTK'd because I would have less body presence. Sheena was fine. I don't know if it was that great for me, but it was a pretty solid card overall. Next, we have 3 Chant. Again, shout out Dency. We played 3 Chant, 1 Visions. There's some discussion about if we should play multiple Visions or Chants or what the ratio should be here. I think this was fine. Like, you just want to play Visions. Like, honestly, I could have played without Visions, crazy enough. But it was fine at 10, and that's a 1 of. Throughout the tournament, I kind of changed my style of play. Initially, I was going for like a mandate setup and negates, but I quickly realized that depending on the matchup, you actually want to use things like Phonix and Varun. So this card was sometimes being used more in terms of like activating it, then popping it, resetting it, activating an opponent's turn, to then shuffle cards, to then hopefully dig for Sheena. That was probably the correct style of play, but again, it was depending on the matchup. 3 Ascendants, which was probably the best card that wasn't printed in my engine. It was like sneaky good. I mean, obviously most of the time it adds MST, but it also is just infinite recursion for the deck. 2 Manifestation. I don't think I sent a card one time, so it was just added MST. And 3 MST. You need MST to play the game, crazy enough. I activated MST quite a few times against a Call the Hound opponent, and that was pretty cool. Call the Hound actually loses the MST. Next, you play 3 Final Bringer, 3 Offerings to the Dunes. This card was going to be a staple in our deck no matter what, and this slot was very undecided. For a while, we were playing Freezing Curses. For some point, I was considering Realm Eulogy. There's a lot of different cards this could have been, and I think it was okay for what it was. The skipping the draw phase did matter a couple of times. I don't know what the best solution would have been, but maybe would have involved cutting Sheena's down and playing other cards. So that was fine. 2 Book of Eclipse, which is probably the best spell in my deck. It's the only card that can clear the unfair boards, which I will discuss in a little bit. There's way too many unfair cards and decks in the format that are just naturally a flaw of the format. So, yeah. And 1 Mandate. Mandate was fine. 1 Totem Bird. This card actually almost never resolves because they just get rid of it. 1 of each of these. I didn't summon most of these today, although in testing, all of them came up at some point. Yeah, this is a fine extra deck, to be honest. This card's really cool. When you like Hop Squadron, it nukes the board. This one, when you Hop Squadron a Corsair, you can summon this summon back the Hop Squadron, summon this into this, and this pops 2 cards. This one, if you don't know, you do it with like a Varun or a Sheena or a Phonix, and it tributes itself, destroys all spells, or face-up spells or all face-up monsters. Ruddy Rose, Graveyard, this guy does whatever. They came up when they needed to. I did see the person I lost to was playing a whole nother Rank 9 package, which I thought was really good. But this card was fine. All it does is like pops 2. His did a little more than that, so maybe something to consider if I were to play this deck again. Side deck was 1 Phonix, 2 Horse, 3 Lava Golem, 3 Lancia, 3 Fissure, and 3 Illusion Gate. Illusion Gate's the best 0.9 engine, and it was also the reason that I played this deck. I wanted to play a deck that didn't really outright lose to Illusion Gate, and what was crazy enough is I don't know why people didn't play Excited In against me because of my deck or whatnot, but I never really got Illusion Gated. But this was kind of like the defining card of the format in my opinion, because you needed to play a deck that didn't lose to this card. And this was definitely a deck that didn't necessarily lose to this card. This card was really impactful for me in quite a few situations, and it definitely should be pointed. It's probably an oversight, or maybe they just wanted to push new product, but it's pretty cool. Lancia actually had a new use case. There was an Exodia FTK running around, oddly enough, and I decided in Lancia, but I didn't activate it. But yeah, that Konami need to fix that. There should not be an Exodia FTK running around where people literally had their whole tournament ruined because they couldn't win. Lava Golem could have been any tribute card that did whatever. This I'm gonna discuss this right now. Lava Golem had to be used, maybe even Spear Removal was better, but had to be used because there's so many unfair decks. There are so many decks in this current Genesys format that you have no chance to beat if you go second. A lot of these just like, I call them like slop piles. They just play a bunch of different engines that weren't meant to be used together that just end on the most insane thing. For example, the current like most defining card, in my opinion, is something like Utopia Future Zero. And that's a card that I don't think was designed to be in every end board of every XYZ deck, but it was. Every single deck was playing Utopia Future Zero. And that just adds to the layers of unbreakableness that these boards are making. Cards like Dark Ruler No More, I felt like a necessary evil to a lot of these things. As being a 0.9 engine, every deck would play it, and it would keep a lot of these really, really unfair decks at bay. But when that's even pointed at 2 points, a lot of decks, even my deck included, I wouldn't want to sacrifice an engine slot or something like that. And because of that sacrifice, a lot of decks like RDA, which just make borderline unbreakable boards going first, or Elf Note, or some of these, different piles. This Doom Z Magnet deck, completely broken. Cards like, I guess good board breakers need to be low points so that those decks are kept at bay. Same reason that Droll needs to be lower in points so that those decks can be kept at bay. Or the points just need to be properly allocated so that those decks don't exist, because there's a super unfair advantage to going first in Genesys, more so than in the TCG or in the current format. In the advanced format, you at least have like hand traps to stop some of these crazy decks from really doing stuff, or your board breakers are so high quality that you can realistically break any board. But in this type of format, neither of those things are true. Like the board breakers are such low quality that a lot of times they're just, the opponent's going to win in the following turn, and the hand traps are pretty much non-existent, so these crazy combo decks are just free to run rampant. But, there's a few philosophy design changes and points or whatever that I think should be changed, but, it's neither here nor there. I was pretty happy with how well I did, given the deck I was playing and everything. But yeah, I won these cool prizes. Check out these red dice. Check out these ore farming tokens that Aditya just put in the video. And check out this, I got these cards, some Xbox thing, and should we do a pack opening? Let's do a pack opening, guys. Can't wait for a Jagdeep Magician. Ready? 3, 2, 1. That's okay.
I got mine too.
Here we go. Pack opening? Double pack opening. Double pack opening.
You open these from like the back, right?
I just did it from the top like a normal pack.
Oh, slow.
Oh! There we go. You won.
It's all nasty.
There you go. Well, guys, thank you for watching. Please sub and follow for more Genesys content.